Good morning. This is Don V with Truth Be Told, and we have a couple interesting stories we'd like to share with you this morning. Before I move to those, please remember to subscribe. Over 90% of the people that are viewing my videos are not subscribers. Completely free, doesn't cost a thing, and really helps my numbers out. And before I move to that, I'd like to address a couple things. I've been getting some people getting on there calling me a liar and that, stop lying, blah, blah, blah. I'm not just making this stuff up. I'm reading the reports just as they are on the old interweb. So you can look at the reports yourself. I don't just sit here and read them. I sit there and show you while I read them. At any rate, without ado, let's go ahead and move right to it. First one is military indicts Venal Gavin Newsom. Whew, finally. U.S. Navy Judge Advocate General Corps has indicted California Governor Gavin Newsom amid concerns that the embattled, corrupt politician might flee the country if California voters successfully oust him on September 14th. Let's certainly hope so, and I'm definitely staying on my knees in prayer on that one. The recall effort, started by voters furious at Newsom's draconian lockdown measures, has continued to gain traction as Newsom flouts his own restrictions and continues to bankrupt thousands of the very people who voted him into office. Although he claims right-wing political extremists started the recall movement, the U.S. military has obtained irrefutable evidence that he betrayed his oath of office by imposing needless mask mandates and profiting massively by shuttering the state's principal economic sector, the motion picture industry, in exchange for bribes and kickbacks. California has long been an anti-business, pro-arson, pro-homeless, reverse racism policy-driven state pandering to woke ideology and class Marxism. Allegedly, this is all alleged information. As the old communist Chinese or French Laundry adage goes, everyone is equal except some are more equal than others. As such, there is little shocking about the recent deluge of accusations against Newsom and Netflix, whose executive has poured seven-figure donations into governor's personal coffer, an anti-recall campaign purporting a quid pro quo, wherein Newsom kept the movie theaters, theme parks, and productions locked down, while Netflix profited from the quarantine economy. As theaters and theme parks went broke, streaming services added tens of millions of subscribers. Not me. I canceled my Netflix subscription once I found out Obama was one of the big owners, and George Soros as well. A source at the U.S. Navy Judge Advocates General Corps told RRN that JAG has obtained phone conversations and verified documents illustrating Newsom's criminality. For example, Netflix CEO Reed Hastings contributed $30 million to Newsom's anti-recall campaign, the finances of which he personally controls. Moreover, Hastings and his wife, philanthropist Patty Quillen, gave $1 million to Future Forward Super PAC, which spends tens of millions of dollars in attack ads against President 45 in battleground states. Netflix currently has a production deal with Barack and Michelle Obama. Newsom also received a $10 million contribution from the Hulu CEO Randy Freer and Jeffrey Katzberg, a movie aimed at suppressing the will of voters who delivered nearly 1,750,000 petition signatures to recall the much maligned governor. The Golden State Governor's venality mandated a comprehensive military investigation, our source said. The evidence against Newsom is compelling, and was compelling enough to issue the indictment, which it has the authority to do under the powers granted in the Insurrection Act. In addition, JAG has obtained copies of a very disturbing telephone calls between Newsom and governors of other Democratic states, our sources said. One such call allegedly captured Newsom and Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer congratulating each other on pushing their respective states closer to socialist ideology. While they all broke they have no choice but to rely on us, Newsom said, to which Whitmer replied, Barack Obama will be proud. They discussed at length transfiguring the nation into a population of serfs and laughed about making people wear masks for life, indoors and out. This is treason of the highest form, our source said. In closing, he said an indictment does not mean an immediate arrest, but the military is making plans to grab Newsom regardless of the recall outcome. This guy makes me sick. Him and Nancy Pelosi, who, what I understand, is sitting over at Guantanamo Bay right now, waiting for her little trial. They just, little birdie told me that Nancy Pelosi's group just released that she's not going to be rerunning again. Now, why would somebody that's on the verge of their communist utopia all of a sudden decide to step down? Why? Because she's going to prison. Moving on. This fireworks. Senator Rand Paul rips through arrogant Fauci. There will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself. And there's a video. Ooh, okay. Senator Rand Paul, Republican of Kentucky, ripped arrogant Fauci during today's hearing on the nation's COVID response efforts. Fauci testified and responded to questions about the NIH's role in funding gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. Rand Paul and Fauci got into a tense exchange over Fauci's involvement in funding the Wuhan lab's gain-of-function research that likely led to COVID-19. Fauci again denied he funded the gain-of-function research. There will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself, Rand Paul said. I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, Fauci reported. And here's the video. It's okay. Things just got tense between Senator Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci. Paul, there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself, Fauci. I totally represent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this skank.
Now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2, that's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a minute.
It did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is alleging that those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
you can't
not
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible to result in SARS-CoV-2.
Caused the pandemic. We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And you
admit the truth.
And you implying...
Senator Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Whatever. Whatever. That guy is just absolutely disgusting. I can't wait to see him hang for his gain-of-function research. Out of his own mouth, he said they were experimenting with COVID. So if you're experimenting with it and you're doing gain-of-function, what do you think's going to happen, buddy? Okay. As the Gateway Pundit has reported since the early 2020, Wuhan lab was likely the source of the coronavirus outbreak, and Dr. Fauci was funding the lab for years. Dr. Fauci refuted the claims under oath, despite the fact that there are documents that prove the U.S. was funding the Wuhan lab under his direction. All right. Well, hopefully he finally gets here. Moving on, the OIG report. Findings of misconduct by senior FBI official for having unauthorized contact with media, accepting unauthorized gifts from reporters. The Office of Inspector General on Tuesday released its findings of misconduct by a then senior FBI official for having numerous unauthorized contacts with the media and for accepting unauthorized gifts from members of the media. A senior FBI official had numerous unauthorized contacts with members of the media between January and November of 2016 in violation of FBI policy. The FBI official also received tickets to black tie dinners and unauthorized lunches, dinners, and other social engagements with reporters. The OIG investigation substantiated the allegations that the senior FBI official had numerous unauthorized contacts with the media from 2014 through 16 in violation of FBI policy. In addition to substantive communications with reporters, this media contact included unauthorized social engagements outside the FBI headquarters involving drinks, lunches, and dinners, the OIG report said. The OIG also found the senior FBI official violated federal regulations and FBI policy when the senior FBI official accepted tickets from members of the media to black tie dinner events, one valued at $225 and the other valued at $300, and received transportation to one event from a reporter, all without prior authorization. According to the OIG, the FBI official retired before the OIG contacted them for an interview. I'd sure like to know who this official is, but we'll be finding out soon, I'm sure. Moving on. When contacted for an interview, the FBI official declined, and the OIG was not authorized to compel testimony. The OIG does not have the authority to compel or subpoena testimony from former department employees, including those who retire or resign during the course of an OIG investigation. Well, folks, you heard it here. Well, you got some evil black hat operatives moving through this country and have been doing it for some time, and we're just now starting to find out how deep this really goes. As hopefully, I know that we're going to definitely see some really big news here in the near future. Stay on your knees. Keep after your senators, your congressmen, and your local representatives, and tell them that we're not going to tolerate this kind of corruption in our government any longer. We're fed up, and the voters are through with it. Anyway, this is Don V with Truth Be Told. Hope you enjoyed this report, and we are out of here.